So it's always been about flattening the curve, remember? Remember when we first started all this nonsense with COVID? That it's flattening the curve. You need to flatten that curve. We're very concerned. Um, People are dying in the streets. Pandemonium. Shut the system down. Kill the internet. Fucking destroy everyone's life. You need to flatten that curve. Because why? Pandemic. Be afraid. It's a new virus no one's ever heard of. Be very afraid. Don't worry. Big Brother government will help you survive this pandemic. And you know that in the end, Big Brother will help you. Because Big Brother is always watching. Well, let's look at the curves, shall we? I found a website. It's called United States COVID-19 Statistics. Statistical data curve tracker for each state and Washington, D.C., because Washington, D.C. isn't a state. Now, I don't know how accurate this is. It's from COVID-19datacurve.com. So it could be, take it for a grain of salt. I'm not sure where their data comes from. Source is the European CDC, I guess. If you look at the bottom, they should say where they're from. But the thing is I don't know that I can trust it or not trust it. It's the CDC. Should be fairly accurate, but the problem is, as we've heard in the news, places like Florida were exaggerating their numbers on purpose. I don't understand why. So let's look at this first one. This isn't a curve. What the fuck are they talking about? This is a trend line. This is a chart showing us where the cases are at and how they spiked, right? These are new cases. This has nothing to do, mind you, nothing to do with death rate, with recovery. The more important one, recovery. Who's getting over this shit and how fast? Because all the media shows us is, oh my God, this guy was on a ventilator and he was in ICU for 3 days and he finally recovered. Look at him. He's so brave, walking out the hospital wearing a mask. All the doctors are applauding. My God, we're just great people. The doctors didn't do shit other than monitor his situation. I can guarantee you. He got an IV because he's probably puking his brains out and dehydrated because he's losing all his fluids. And he got put on a respirator because he's probably having problems to breathing. Some people that have died had kidney problems. Fuck, you could have cancer and had 6 months to live, catch COVID, and they would claim you're a COVID death. That's how dishonest these fuckers have been. It's pretty bad. And it's all over power. Power for their little tribal group. But clearly, we were doing fine until June. June went nuts. George Floyd was in May. Around here. There's nothing going on. Then Antifa started their shit. And it's been almost 2 months of their stupid shit. Look at that. Look at that. All those protests, people going out in the streets. Oh, wait, I called them protests. Well, they start out as protests until they start throwing shit at the cops, trying to set them on fire, that kind of thing. It's good times. But this isn't a curve. This isn't a curve at all. Ooh, look at this shit. Daily new confirmed COVID deaths. This is the United States. Our world in data. This is just the United States, mind you. This is a linear time log. So at the beginning, big old spike. Ooh, April 16th. Whole lot of death. Then it kind of went down. What's with the low peaks? Should this be more consistent? Shouldn't it be more consistent if a bunch of people are dying? Shouldn't this be more consistent and not like a heartbeat? But it is a trend, and everybody can see it. It's a downward trend. The peak was right here. That's pretty obvious. Even if we take this whole 2 weeks, maybe about a week worth of April, and give this as the high point right about here, it's a downward trend. So the death rate has been flattened, has it not? This is a flattened curve. This is good. Oh, wait, we got a spike right here. Got a spike. June 26th.
What do you have to say?
I think this is important. The curve's been flattened, has it not? According to this data, the curve's flattened. So what the fuck's the problem? Open it back up. We got it under control. We know how to treat it. We know what the problem is. They're developing a vaccine, kind of like the flu vaccine, so everybody's going to have to take it every year, just like the flu vaccine. If you're in the medical field, sucks to be you, because all of you have to take it. It's a mandatory thing. Here's the more important lines. This is by state. So confirmed cases, recovered, deceased. So you notice that the confirmed cases spike. All of them spike. More people are getting tested. That's what that means. Right? Recovered. Why isn't the recovery rate similar to the new cases date or rate? I don't understand that. Why are you saying that this fat ass curve right here is the most important one? You want to flatten that curve. That's what they're talking about. The curve that cannot be flattened. This virus has become airborne. There's evidence to suggest it has. There's also evidence to suggest it's not as lethal and it is mutated. Thus, this recovery rate isn't being tracked very well. You know why? People have gone home, recovered, and didn't bother telling anyone. No one's following up. It's like a doctor. You know, have you ever gone to the doctor and you had an issue, you thought it was really serious, and you go and talk to that doctor, and they take some tests, they take some blood, you know, they take your stool maybe, you have to pee in a cup, take a chunk, a pound of flesh, something, you know, and they say, we'll call you back when we figure out what's going on. And they never do. Right? Because the test results come back and there's nothing wrong. That's usually what that means. If you don't get a call back, nothing's going on. But if you call them back, it's like, oh yeah, we need to set up another appointment to discuss the results of your test. Please come in so we can charge your insurance another few $100s and charge you the $20 copay because you pay for insurance your entire life, but you still have to pay out of pocket. That's annoying, by the way. Anyways, so the death rate, look at that. This is Alabama. Alabama's not all that populated. And that curve that's pretty low. I mean, recovered rate's massive, infected rate massive, death rate not so much. Not so much. Look at that. 78. This chart sucks, by the way. 78,000 people infected July 25th. I can't even get to the July 25th on this chart. It looks like 1,000 dead and 30-something thousand recovered, as far as they know, which is fun, right? Here's another one. Alaska. New spike. Oh, my God. They're in a new hotspot. Oh, my God. Everybody's going to die. Oh, look. They're recovering just fine. What's interesting, because of their isolation, this was flattened right here. They had a health and recovery rate. Dead. Hardly like 20 people. They're good. Arizona. They got a lot of people there. Oh, look at that. I guess setting fires to those statues and trying to rip them all down and all that shit because racism really went well. They're not really tracking the recovered. This is how you can tell. When the cases spike and they know that they have confirmed cases, no one's really dying. Where's the recovered? They're not tracking recovered very well. Arkansas is tracking recovered very well. You know how you can tell? It aligns with the recovery and the cases. This is a good trend line. This means as many people are getting infected, almost as many are getting recovered. This should almost be parallel if you're looking at good hard data. Because the death rate, so those that they can confirm, it's way the fuck down here. It's still a lot of people, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people losing family over this. It's really disgusting. Let's look at a bigger hotspot, right? Hawaii, they're always worried about that. Look, the death and recovery, or the recovery and the confirmed, right neck and neck of each other. This is good track data. Death rate, it's flat. That that curve is flat. It's very flat. District of Columbia, they had a spike because they probably called a bunch of people back saying, "Are you okay?" Otherwise, it would match these other trend lines, like this one, like this one, like this one. The death rate, pretty flat. Got to flatten that curve, remember? We've got to flatten that curve. Iowa, Maine, Maryland. Maine, good job in tracking your data. Maryland, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're not tracking recovered at all. Minnesota, they're tracking recovered. Michigan, you're kind of tracking recovered. You shouldn't have steps like this. It should be a linear line like this. So they have missing data. Massachusetts, you're fucking retarded. Oh, no one's recovering from this at all, ever. For the last 4 months, no one. Oh, yeah, a whole bunch of people recovered. My bad. Massachusetts, what the fuck's wrong with you? You don't know how to track data? Jesus Christ. Mississippi, you got steps too, but we'll forgive you for the steps, I guess. Just like we'll forgive the other dumbasses with steps. This one right here, Minnesota. What? Why do you have a drop in your data? Are you dumb that don't know how to track? Oh, why'd you have this peak here where infected and recovered equaled? Oh, that's amazing. Look at that. Montana, bunch of people got affected and a bunch of people recovered, and you had a linear line. This right here is people saying we're done and let's go set fire to shit. The spike in cases is setting fire to shit. Nevada, same thing. Somebody's not tracking their recovery. As you can see here, state by state by state, about half of them. What the fuck, Vermont? How is this possible? And then you go negative. Oh, you go to zero again. You're not tracking recovered. Oh, yeah, no, we're tracking recovered. What the fuck is this? Jesus Christ.
Maybe I'm not qualified, but I've been nominated to try. So that's what I'm going to do.
Making decisions off of shitty data is the worst thing you can do. Now, there's some other data that they probably are privy to. Hospital bed occupancy. Hospital occupancy. But there are people out there that don't go to the hospital. I have some people that I know, friends of mine, both caught it. Their household caught it. They just stayed home. He was saying that it was a lot like a brick hit him, just like having the flu, only worse. And he couldn't get out of bed. Like, he got vertigo, he got dizzy. He just kept drinking a whole lot of water and keeping as much down as he possibly could. My sister, she caught it. She's also a nurse, so she was exposed. She caught it, and she had morning sickness because she was also pregnant. And she was throwing up every single day. She was not doing well. So, being the nurse that she is, she gave herself an IV because she's, well, insane. And sent a picture to her family of the IV in her hand. Yeah, she did the hand one where you like stick the needle right here. Just gross. I may be a doctor, but I'm not a medical doctor. No, I can't do that shit. Anyways, that curve is flat. There's next to no one dying from this. Everybody is recovering, so long as you actually track recovering. They're more worried now about new confirmed cases. You know why? Because they can still spin a panic from that. The spike in confirmed cases aligns with the spike in recovered cases. That's exactly what you would expect from a bug that gets you sick but doesn't kill you. I didn't see in any of those lines, anywhere, any of those lines, a spike in death. But you'll hear about the odd story about a family that just died here, a family just died there. This data confirms two things. The media is proud to keep you afraid because it keeps them paid, keeps you watching. The riots have affected the COVID cases because they're spreading the shit like no other's business. Not wearing a mask over your nose, by the way, your face condom, is like poking a hole in the condom. Good job there. I'm so proud that you could do that. Completely defeats the purpose, so you'll probably catch it. Good job. And be sick for a week. That's pretty much what it is. You get sick, it's nasal congestion. Sometimes you have a hard time breathing. If you have lung damage like I do, then it might be a little bit worse, but not too bad. But at any rate, remember when it said, let's flatten the curve. We need to flatten that damn curve, right? The curve needs to be flat. Which curve? The only curve that should matter that's flat is the death rate. It's flat. Compared to recovery rate, it's definitely flat. So, the states aren't tracking their data properly. That's pretty obvious to see. That from the CDC data that we have here, we can clearly see that they're not tracking it correctly. Because look at the spikes. Look at the data shoddiness. Look at the crap that they're trying to do with recovered that they're not really tracking very well. They're on top of getting those new cases because you can test somebody with those drive. Remember, they're going to have plenty of tests. The testings will be the best tests in the world. Yeah. They have drive-through testing. So what happens is you drive through, you get tested, and then you go home. How are they going to check with recovered? They don't. They don't call back. They don't have you... excuse me. They don't call back. They don't have you come in and test again to make sure it's negative. They just leave it. Just like every other lazy-ass doctor out there. They're not tracking their recovered properly. And so the pandemic fear continues. At this point, the death rate is right up there in line with the flu. It's pretty close. When it first kicked off, it was about 5%. Why? Because we didn't know what the fuck we were dealing with. And at the time, it hadn't mutated yet. According to some biologists that I rather trust, it looks like this shit came out of a lab. It looks like they were trying to test for a variety of things on virology, but it was coming out of communist China. And communist China is the kind of China that would try to create a bioweapon to overthrow the earth, because economics seems to be a little bit too slow for the current prime minister who just abolished his term limit so he could stay there indefinitely. The new emperor. Everybody loves him, they say. That's what they always say. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this video. This one went a little bit long because I wanted to show you some data. And yeah, let that fear continue. There's nothing we can do to tell the governor to pull his head out of his ass, because he'll probably say, well, I have additional data that you probably aren't privy to, and this thing is very concerning to all of us. No, it isn't. You're maintaining your power. You're shutting shit down on purpose. And this new stimulus package they just passed, or trying to pass, only goes to show that they're willing to borrow from us to make themselves look good. That's pretty much it. All right. Please like, share, and subscribe. Pass this guy around if you liked it. And see you next time.
I have to admit, it always comes to the same thing.